Hello, this is a brief clarinet lesson on one of the MPA numbers that you'll be playing in February of 2024, I believe. It's entitled All for One, One for All. This is going to be a brief lesson on probably just the trio version. So if you'll look at at your music, which you should have at home by now. If you don't, maybe I'll post it here or here. And this will be the trio section. Normally in a march, the trio changes style and also changes key. So you want to be careful that you do that. At 49, which is where the trio starts, we're in the key of F. Okay, so you're going to have B flats unless you have other symbols that will tell you to do otherwise, which will be the accidentals. The trio of this march is going to be a smooth transition. All right, so this is going to be, the style is going to be much smoother because in the beginning you're going to have a more articulate approach, which would be like so. Everything is tongued and articulate. But when we get to the trio at 49, notice that everything relaxes a little bit and everything is more smooth and connected. So let me play a little bit of this for you. It's not that difficult, at least I don't think it is. I want to take a look at the one note, the C, right before the trio starts. So you got C down to A. So let's put the metronome, I think we'll go at 110. It's marked 120, but we'll start at 110. So here's the trio. So you'll want to finger along to start with and then maybe play along later on. All right, here we go. And one. Without the squeaks. Make sure you're covering those holes like I did not. So that's the basic premise for the trio. You've got notes that are going to crescendo, even though it's not marked that way. As the notes go up the scale, you're going to want to crescendo. It's sort of a natural thing to do anyway. So you've got and then you want to do the direct opposite as you're coming down the phrase. You're going to want to decrescendo. There's one little place in there that the place where I squeaked when you're covering from C down to A. So you might have to practice that some. It's not that hard, but C down to A. Making sure that both of your fingers are covering the holes at the same time. And also at 53, F down to C. Actually, that's a little bit more difficult than from C down to A. So you're going to want to go 53 into 54. So keep your fingers nice and relaxed and very close to the keys. Okay, and at 62, you've got that middle finger, bottom hand, be natural. Okay, and 65 is pretty much going to be identical to 49, and then we end the trio over at 72 with okay, so that caps off that part of the march. So let's go back and take into account some of the things that I've talked about, keeping our fingers close to the keys, especially when we're taking the transition from F down to C, last part of 53 into 54, so we don't squeak like I did a minute ago. So let's try that again starting at 49. Here we go. And one, ready. again. And it was at the same place, F down to C. So maybe I need to practice F down to C some. And it's usually going to be the fourth finger of the left hand that's going to produce that squeak, because that's the one that's hard to grasp when you're going from F down to C. So practice that some. F down to C. Use lots of air also, that will help. So relax the fingers, make sure that the fat part of the fingers are covering the holes, and use lots of air support. So that is really the entire trio of All for One and One for All that you'll need to work on some. I'm sure you'll practice that 5 days a week once school gets back into session in January, getting ready for MPA. But just remember that 49, the key changes and the style changes, all right? And that when you play notes that are ascending, even though it may not be marked crescendo, there's a natural progression to do that, all right? It's more musical to do that, all right? And conversely, when you're coming down the scale, you also want to decrescendo, all right? It makes it sound much more musical. So practice this, make sure you're playing in the right style, playing the correct rhythms, correct notes, of course. I mean, that's a given. And work on the squeak technique. I think I need to work on that. F down to C. Sounds like one of those French, ambulances. Anyway, so stay tuned for more videos outlining and explaining All for One, One for All, and other MPA numbers. But this is the first one. The first one you need to learn is All for One and One for All. So keep practicing and have a great break.